Hello and welcome to this premium masterclass on goal setting. Today, I'm going to be talking about three things, right? Three different things on this goal setting masterclass. So I need you to pay close attention. If you have questions, you can ask at the end of the session and basically pay close attention to what I'm about to say because basically this training, this session is going to help you maximize this accountability platform to ensure that you hit your goals. Now, today I'm going to be talking about three different things in this goal setting masterclass. Right now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is why people don't achieve their goals. So, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is how you can actually achieve their goals because you know those people, right? How to achieve your goals, especially with this platform that we have provided, how to achieve your goals. And then the third and final thing that I'm going to be talking about is how to become how to become that person, how to become that person that consistently achieve goals, because there's some people who have gotten to that level, that stage that they're able to consistently achieve whatever goal that they set. So I'm going to be breaking all of that down. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is why people don't achieve their goals. And under each of those three things that I'm talking about, we have three children. So it's kind of like the goal setting masterclass has three kids. The kids have three kids themselves, like three kids each, right? So the first thing I'm going to talk about why people don't achieve their goals, and under why people don't achieve their goals, we have three different things. Now, before I even talk about why people don't achieve their goals, I would like to tell you about the fact that just because you registered for this challenge, just because you joined this accountability challenge, doesn't mean that automatically, you all of your goals are going to be achieved. Now, the accountability challenge is a platform, it's a system, a structure that we have designed to ensure that you achieve your goals. But you have your part to play, while we also have our part to play, right? You do your own part, you do your own bits by showing up daily, doing those things that you said you were going to do, working towards hitting your goals. And we do our own bits by helping you stay consistent, helping you ensure that you show up daily, basically kind of like following up on you to push you into consistently showing up. But it is one thing to push someone to show up, and it is another thing for that person to actually be motivated enough to show up. They say you can force a horse to the river, but you can't force them to drink the water. I don't know if that's the right way, but you get what I mean. We provide the platform, but it's up to you to actually achieve your goals. And there are lots of people who have passed through this challenge that didn't end up, achieving their goals. They set lofty goals, and before the end of the challenge, they were not even able to stay through until the end. Maybe they got kicked out, they got evicted, and all of that, right? But there are also people that have passed through this challenge and it has been a blessing to them. Time is going to fail me to talk about all of them, but I love to talk about, just a few of them, like starting with my namesake, Juliet. She joined the challenge. When she joined the challenge, when she wanted to join, she told me that, oh, she was pregnant and she needed um, to exercise daily. But she needed that push, that drive to ensure that every single day she's doing her exercise and taking her walks. And I told her, don't worry, join the accountability platform and we're definitely going to help you out with that. And she joined, and her task was basically simple: take walks for 20 minutes daily. And she kept on doing that every single day until the end of the challenge. In fact, before the challenge ended, she reached out to me and told me that she had put to bed. And she said on the day that she was taken to the hospital for her delivery, when she got to the hospital, they just took her straight to the labor room and she gave birth under 4 minutes. She said she was so happy. The fact that she, stayed healthy while, she kept on working daily, but then she introduced, taking healthy meals, fruits, and all of that to her daily routine. Now, she was really happy that the platform basically helped her to stay consistent on all of those things, because there's some days that she'd really, really feel so tired. If you're a lady, you probably might know how pregnancy might be or can be sometimes. She'll feel so tired and she wouldn't want to go on those walks, but because she knows that she has to submit to the group that day, she has to go on the walk, right? She has to take the work, and it really helped her on on the day of her delivery. There's also Kufre. When he joined the challenge, one of his tasks was that he wanted to improve on his relationship with his wife. So he decided to kiss his wife daily, every single day. Now he did that every single day without fail during the challenge. At the time he reached out to me, he was like, he did not know that he could do it, and it was really kind of challenging for him because there are times that he would have disagreements with his wife and all that. But before he left the house, he knows that he has to actually kiss his wife, and that basically just improved the quality of his relationship. There's also kids. She reached out to me and told me that she has a terrible spending habit. So she would see an item, maybe a vendor or something online, maybe on social media. She would just see something that looks fancy, and before you know it, she's already bringing out a card and she's ordering it. She's not even trying to consider whether or not she needed the item. She would just, place an order and she'll get it. 2 days later, after she has gotten the item, when she'll get the item, she'll be so happy and excited about it. And 2 days after, she'll be regretting, why she actually bought that item. And she kept on doing it. And she said she didn't have a saving culture. She didn't have, she wasn't saving. All her money was basically going on one thing, one expense or the other. And she joined the challenge because she wanted to develop that saving culture, right? She decided that she was going to save 1,000 every single day for the entire length of the challenge, and she did that. She was able to save 1,000 every single day for 100 days in the challenge, and by the end of the challenge, she had 100,000 that she had not touched. What I thought, okay, you know what? If you're going to if you have that urge to actually buy something, and all that, just basically tell yourself that don't worry, at the end of this challenge, I'm going to get my money, because she was keeping her money in a safe. And you just tell yourself that at the end of this challenge, I'm going to get money and I'm going to buy this thing. So she just kept on writing all of the nice things she saw online that she wanted to buy. And by the end of the challenge, I was asking her, so how do you feel? Are you going to buy some of those items? She said no. After a few days and weeks and all that, she didn't think she needed those items anymore. And that's basically how it could be. Sometimes we spend impulsively. We don't necessarily need those items, but we just want to buy it. I don't know. We just want to buy it, basically, maybe because it will make us feel good at that moment, but it's just for that moment, right? And she was able to break that spending unnecessarily culture, because she was able to build the habit of saving daily for an entire 100-day period. Another person of notable mention is Muna. When Muna joined the challenge, she told me that she wrote her first novel, and that first novel took her 2 years to complete, like 2 full years to complete. And she wanted to write a second novel, but she was scared that it was going to take her, that much time again. And she joined the challenge, hoping to complete her second novel in that period of the challenge. So every day her task was to write a certain amount of words, right, and submit, write daily, just basically contributing to the completion of her novel. And she'll write daily and submit to the group. At the end of 100 days, I think she went for 110 days because she started 10 days before the challenge. At the end, so our task was basically to write daily, and at the end of the challenge, she had her novel complete. All she needed to do was to edit the manuscript, and then give it to the edit it and give it to get it printed or whatever if she wanted it in hard copy and all that, and published So she was able to do that. So in the space under 1 year, she was able to get her second novel edited, written, completely written, edited, and published. She was able to do that. And it was because she joined the accountability challenge. Then, so the number one reason people don't achieve their goals is the fact that they miss a day. So the number one reason people don't achieve their goals is because they miss a day, missing a day of submission. Now, it can be so overwhelming. You have decided, maybe you even posted it on your status, that I'm joining this accountability platform, this accountability challenge, and I'm going to be showing up every single day for the next, I'm going to be showing up every single day during the course of this challenge. You probably must have posted a flyer, a banner, or whatever on your profile, and you start the challenge, and whatever happened, different things could happen in a day that could make you genuinely not show up. All right, so you post it online, or you start, and then maybe something happened. You went out of your normal base, your comfort zone, and for one reason or the other you couldn't show up that day, and you missed the day of submission, and then the next day you're tagged on the group, and because you were not able to show up, you feel that guilt. One, you're tagged, so you feel the guilt. Two, you're like, your mind already got used to the fact that you did not show up the previous day. So it's very, very easy for you to just slip into that loop of not showing up again another day. So a lot of people do not achieve their goals because they miss a day of submission, then they feel guilty. Now, because of that guilt, they spiral into not showing up the next day because they feel guilty for not showing up the previous day, and not showing up that following day makes them feel even more guilty, and then that just continues on and on and on, and they don't show up. Right? So missing a day of submission could actually make you not to complete the entire duration of the challenge. You could just, because you miss a day, your mind just gets used to the fact that because you did not submit the previous day, you can also skip another day, and before you know it, you've skipped a lot of days, and before you know it, you've already spiraled into not showing up and not achieving your goals. Maybe because an admin reaches out to you the first day and then the second day, and you're already beginning to feel guilty because you don't even have any more excuses to give, and you're just like, okay, let me not just even respond, let me not just even say anything, let me just hide my face, let me just bury myself in the shame and the guilt and all of that, and before you know it, you're not showing up anymore. Nobody knows what is happening with you, why you're not showing up and all that. So missing a day could actually get you to not achieve your goals, right? There are lots of reasons, but I'm going to just stick to the three that I'm talking about, right, that I'm going to be discussing. Now, the next reason people don't achieve their goals is inferiority complex. Inferiority complex is the feeling of inadequacy. So when you join the challenge, you definitely see other people with long list of goals, long list of activities that they want to achieve. Now, those goals might be tailored to their expectations, their experiences, or their needs at that time. Now, you would see other people's goal. Maybe someone's goal now might be to pray for 2 hours daily, and your goal, you've already written pray for 10 minutes daily, and in your mind you're like, it's not two heads that me and this person have. How come they're praying for 2 hours and me I'm praying for 10? Only 10. And then you start to feel less of yourself. You don't feel like you're good enough. You don't feel like you start to condemn yourself by yourself. You don't feel you're capable, or you feel like, okay, because that person is doing more, then you should actually be doing more. But you feel so sad, you feel so down with yourself, you feel so negative about it because you are not able to do more. You feel like, you're not doing more, you're not doing enough. So it's just basically that feeling of inadequacy, that sometimes we set goals that are bigger than ourselves, and that's actually not bad, because your goals are actually supposed to scare you, right? So, and when you look at those goals, you look at the things that you've written that you want to achieve, you're like, am I really sure that I can achieve that, that particular thing? And maybe after the first 10 days or the first week, it doesn't seem like you're getting close to your goals at all, and you start to feel less of yourself, you start to feel like you're not good enough, you start to feel like you're not capable. Now, if you stay in those feelings, if you stay in that feeling, you're definitely not going to take action, because feelings of inferiority, feelings of inadequacy does not push you to act in favor of your goals. Those feelings of inadequacy will definitely lead you to procrastinate, it will lead you to not take action, and it will lead you to just not do anything to actually be adequate. Because if you feel like you're not capable, the best way to counter that feeling is actually to act in favor of your goal, so that you can prove to yourself that, no, I am capable of this task. But feelings of inadequacy, if you dwell there for too long, it will get you to feeling less of yourself and not actually taking any action whatsoever regarding your goals or relating to your goals, right? Now, the third and final thing under this segment, why people do not achieve their goals, is the fear of success. Now, I know you must be wondering, fear of success, like how? As how? As how now? Because you must have heard of fear. Yes, of course, everybody knows fear, right? And you're like, oh, well, I know about the fear of failure, I know about the fear of what people will say, people's opinions, I know about all fear of other people's opinion, okay, and all the other different kinds of negative fears. But you probably may not have heard explicitly about the fear of success, and that's a real fear. I personally battled with that fear for a very long time, and I did not know that it was a fear that existed. So the fear of success is not like the fear of failure. Fear of failure is really very glaring. It's loud, I feel. Fear of failure is usually very loud, because in your mind you're thinking, what if I fail? What if this doesn't work out? What if people laugh at me? What are people going to think of me if they see that I'm doing this kind of thing? If they see that I'm taking this kind of step, are they going to, what are people going to think about me? Right? Especially if it's like a negative habit you're trying to break, and you have to put it out there, and you're like, oh, what are people going to think about me? They're going to know that I had this kind of habit and all that. That is kind of like the fear of failure. But the fear of success does not tell you that, oh, what if I succeed, what if I pass, what if everything, you're not necessarily thinking in that line. Fear of success comes in a very subtle way, in the sense that instead of thinking, oh, what if I succeed, what if this works out, you're thinking, will I be able to keep up this charade of this kind of person, this kind of. So maybe your goal is to be a content creator, be an influencer, and you're not necessarily thinking about, oh, what if I become an influencer and I start making a lot of money, getting deals and endorsements and all of that. You're basically kind of thinking in this direction, like, what if a time comes and I don't have anything else to give to people, I don't have any new content to promote, I'm not getting any deals anymore, and I don't have any positive things to share, and or maybe I run out of ideas and I don't know what to talk about, or I say something that gets me dragged in the mud like a tiger generator, and people drag my name and they call me all sort of names and all that. Fear of success is really thinking in those kind of lines, not necessarily thinking about but thinking about how you're going to be able to keep up with the fact that you're now in this limelight, and people are going to necessarily or obviously demand more from you, right? Because when you succeed, when you're up there, people look up to you, right? and you're going to start feeling like you're not even up to that level for people to be looking up to you like that. You're going to be feeling, what if I don't know anymore to give to people? Because it's kind of like you're pouring from a cup, and you'd be like, what if my cup goes empty? What if there is nothing left in the cup to pour out? So that is the fear of success, and it's there. It's a silent fear that silently kills a whole lot of potentials. A lot of people have potentials, but they're not showing up, not because they don't think that they would succeed, but because they don't think that they would keep up when and if they succeed. That is the fear of success. So I'm going to talk about how to achieve your goals. Despite all of this reason that gets people not to show up or not to achieve their goals, these are some of these reasons. There are still a whole lot more, but I may not be able to talk about all of them in the course of this session. So we're just going to move into how to ensure that you achieve your goals. Number one way to ensure that you achieve your goals is to pick up where you left off. So if you miss a day or you miss 2 days, don't start thinking about the fact that, oh, I've missed a day, or I did not submit yesterday. Am I not? I've already missed 1 day, and now I'm not going to have a complete days of submission. You just need to pick up where you left off, and continue, keep going. Consistency is not necessarily a every day you show up at 100% kind of thing. If you were able to show up today, and for whatever reasons you were not able to show up the next day, it is not consistency if you give up and then you decide that, oh, you're going to try again much later. It is consistency if you pick yourself back up and you show up the next day and you continue to show up. So consistency is not necessarily having to show up every single day back to back to back to back. That is consistency, yes, right? But if you miss a day of submission, it's just basically like you forgot to drink water on a particular day. You're not going to turn back the hands of time or say, I'm not going to drink water again. I really forgot to drink water yesterday. The whole of yesterday passed and I didn't drink water. Wow, that's really bad. I'm not going to drink water again. It's you telling yourself, oh, I made a mistake. I slipped. I did not drink enough water, or I did not drink water at all yesterday. I'm going to ensure that today I drink enough water, and consistently I continue to drink water. It's not saying that you're not going to drink water again. So that is where people miss it, because they miss a day of showing up, or a day of submission. They tend to hide because they're already feeling guilt, they're already feeling shy, and they don't want to, they don't want to show up anymore. So if you miss a day of submission, pick up where you left off. Right? And then the next thing I'm going to talk about on how to achieve your goals. There are lots of different ways, but again, I'm going to be speaking with just 3. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is to pick a time and place to do your tasks. Right? Pick a time and place to perform those activities. So you have a list of goals that you want to achieve. So maybe, for example, you want to meditate. It is very, very important that you pick a time and a place for those. There are some activities that you may not be able to pick a place, but it's very important to pick a time. Now, the idea behind picking a time for that particular activity is the fact that once you pick a time, your mind is going to register that time as a time for doing this activity, for performing this activity. And once it's that time, your brain starts to tell you, now do this, do this, do this, do this, do this particular act, take this action, take this action. It is time, it is time, it is time. So I wanted to start praying in the midnight, and I told myself that I'm going to pray from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. And what I did was I set a special place in my room by my bedside where I would just kneel, and I put like a one of my son's my son's what's it called, shawl, shawl, in that place. And I said I was going to kneel there and pray there from 12 to 1 daily. I did not know that, I was subconsciously telling my mind that this is prayer, this place is prayer, this place is a place for prayer. And I kept on doing this for a couple of days, and There was one particular night I was still awake. I was busy scrolling, pressing my phone, and I just felt pushed. I was just feeling the urge to go to that particular place. And I was like, oh, it's because it's prayer time. I looked at the time, it was already past 12. And I was like, oh, it's prayer time. So that is why I'm getting this push to actually go to that place and put my shawl and just kneel there and and worship and pray. Even though your physical body might not be able to might not even see the time at the moment, your brain, your mind will tell you subconsciously that it is time to perform that act when it gets to that time. You'll just be wondering that, why do I just feel that push, that sudden push to do this particular act? And you realize that it's because you picked a time and you've done it at that time consistently. Now the third and final thing, show up no matter what. Show up daily, no matter what. So it doesn't matter how busy you are, no matter how busy you are, try as much as possible to show up. Now when I say show up, it's just basically to show up to do one tiny thing. What you're doing is you're registering in your mind that this particular activity must be performed. This particular action must be performed no matter what at all. Like against all odds, this particular action, this particular act, this particular activity must definitely be performed. So you have to show up daily no matter what. So if you said you're going to meditate daily for 10 minutes, there'll be some days that you don't feel like it, and it's not even necessarily feeling like it. There may be some days that the other things that are seriously pressing for your time, and you really need to give attention to those things at that moment. Now if you've told yourself that I'm going to meditate before I start my day, what you do before you start your day, even though that particular thing, you know that no matter what, you can't do this, you can't meditate for 10 minutes that day, what you should try to do, just set your timer for 1 minute. Just tell yourself, just 1 minute, I'm just going to give myself to doing this for 1 minute only. Just 1 minute, I'm just going to do this for only 1 minute. And you do your meditation and you get on with your life, get on with your day. Now what you're registering in your mind is that this particular activity, despite how busy I am, it has to be performed. Because if you skip showing up, right, if you skip showing up, you're like, oh, I can wing it, I can not show up right today because I have a lot of things. Tomorrow you're definitely going to have a whole lot of other things that could take your time. But if you tell yourself that, okay, I know that I have a lot of things on my plate for today, so instead of giving myself 10 minutes to this activity, I'm going to give just 1 minute. You have rewired your mind, you have rewired your brain such that no matter what, you have to show up, that you're able to show up. This just basically programs you to be able to show up consistently, right? I hope this is helping thus far. If it is, please drop your likes and comments in the comment section and let me know how this is going so far for you as we move on to the final part. So the final part of the session today is how to be that person that achieve goals, how to become that person that achieve goals consistently, right? How to become that person that achieve goals consistently. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is it's kind of like a formula, right? And the formula is broken into 3 parts again, as usual. And the first thing I want to talk about is have, right? Have. So when I say have, what exactly do I mean? So have is like the goal that you want to achieve. It's the goal. And what exactly is a goal? A goal is not a wish or a dream. Now a wish or a dream can actually be your goal, but it can be your goal if it has a timeline. So a wish is saying something like, oh, I really love that car, man, I just wish it is mine. Or dream can be like, wow, I'd really love to vacation in Germany or in Paris. That can be a dream, that can be a wish, but it's not a goal. It is a goal. It can become a goal if you set a time frame to it. So goal, not wish or dream, but it can be a goal when you set a timeline to it. So a timeline is what differentiates a dream and a wish from a goal. So if you're like, oh, I really want to get that car, I really wish I can get that car, man, that car is really, really beautiful, I love the color. Or maybe I'm not going to take that color, I'm going to use black, even mine is going to be black. That can be like a wish that you're just wishful thinking in your head, but it becomes a goal when you're like, by the end of this year, 31st December this year, I am going to own this, you state the name of the car, and it's in your head. When somebody wakes you and asks you, when are you going to get a car, you're like, oh, 31st December this year, I'm going to own my own car, I'm going to have my own car. That becomes a goal, because now you've set a time frame, you set a timeline that you want to achieve that particular thing. And once you've set that timeline, what is the next thing that you do? I just said it. The next thing that you do is to take action. The next thing that you do is to take actions, right? Actions. So you need to ask yourself, okay, my goal, what I want to have. So have and do. You want to have, which is your goal, but you have to do to get that goal. You want to have the goal, but you have to do to get that, to have that goal. I don't know if you're getting it. So you need to ask yourself, okay, what do I need to do to own a car? There are lots of things that you could do, right? I'm only going to call the legal ones. Maybe you save the money, maybe you take on more jobs, maybe you get a loan to finance the car, and what have you. There are lots of different things that you could do to get that car, have that car in your name. And you just need to list out all of the things that you need to do, and figure out, okay, I am going to do this, I'm going to do 1 2 3 to be able to achieve my goals by this time frame. Remember, you're going to be working with like a deadline, and if you earn a particular amount of money, the first thing, in fact, if you want to have anything, you need to, like the car, right, you need to know what it's going to cost. So if you have like a particular amount of money, and you know that this is the amount of money I make every month, and it's going to take about 11 months, 10 months, 8 months to get that, to the deadline of your goal, then you need to ask yourself, okay, is my earnings from my salary, my monthly salary, going to make it? If it's not, then do I need to take on more jobs, or what do I need to do? Or do I need to buy a lesser grade car, a less expensive car? So you would need to figure out the things that you need to do, because it is those things that you do that is going to lead to the things that you have, right? So you do those things, you figure out what you're going to do, and you can then decide to use this accountability platform to do those actions every single day. So you break down all of the things that you need to do, and then break it down into the steps, the tasks, activities, we call it activities or tasks that you need to take daily. So if, for example, my goal is to improve my relationship with my husband, right? Maybe I've been having a bit of friction in my marriage, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give myself the next 30 days, the next 100 days to ensure that my marriage works perfectly, just like it was when we're dating, right? And I tell myself, okay, what do I need to do? What are the things that my husband likes? Maybe he likes some kind of meals, and maybe he likes some quality time or act of service or whatever. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this daily. Now every day you're doing that thing, you're taking that action, you're taking that step, you're doing that activity. The end goal is what you want to have. The end goal is what you want to have, which is a better relationship with my husband, right? For example, the end goal when it comes to the car is that you want to have the car. So what are the things that you need to do? List every single thing out, and during the course of the challenge, you are taking the steps every single day without fail. Now at the beginning, it might feel like nothing is happening. The friction is still there. You and your spouse are still fighting. The money is not adding up. Today it looks like the money has gone up, but tomorrow you had an expense you had to take out from it or whatever, and or it just feels like this money is not going anywhere, or the price of the car just went up or something like that. All of these things could happen, and it just feels like you're not doing anything. You just basically need to keep at it, because the way this game works is by compounded interest, right? For that big goal to be achieved, you would have done it over and over and over and over and over again. You would have taken small tiny actions, small tiny activities, small tiny steps to get to that big overall goal. So you don't necessarily need to feel bad that the first day, the first week, the first month you're not seeing anything. It's just for you to keep at it, keep on taking those actions, keep on doing those things, and you will definitely eventually see the results, right? That is the second thing. Now the third and final thing under how to be that person that achieve goals is to be. So it's to become. So the formula is actually be, do, have, but I would explain the be before I tie everything together. Now, how do you become a person? How do you become a person? When they say this person doesn't have character, or this person is very disrespectful, or this person is very proud, what do they mean? They mean that that person has displayed that action over and over and over again. Just because the person displayed the action once does not mean, will not define that person by that, that kind of character. But if that person has displayed that action, has displayed that character the first time, the second time, the third time, they will now label that person with that action, with that character. That is how you become somebody. So if, for example, in the church, they're like, oh, we're looking for prayer warriors. Church recommend who are the prayer warriors here, and then there's one brother every single day he's in church praying. Every single day before every service he prays. People, anybody who comes to church first other than him, will meet him there on his knees by the altar praying. And then there's someone who maybe will come once in a while, and maybe after a month they won't see that person. The next month person will be like, oh, or the next year even, person like, oh, I want to pray, I want to touch God this year, I want to touch God this year. I want to seek the face of God more this year. And that person would pray and pray and pray and pray and pray, and then they will go. After a very long while they won't see that person again. But that brother is consistently, every single day you come to church and you see this brother in the church by the altar praying silently, but he's praying. When they say we're looking for someone to lead the prayer team, who do you think they're going to call? Of course, it's that brother that you're always saying, praying consistently. And why is that? Because he has become prayer. He has become that person that prays. So you become a person, or you become a kind of person by doing, but not just by doing, but by doing that action, doing that act consistently over and over and over and over and over and over again. So you become that person by taking that action, taking that step consistently. They're not going to say you're a particular person if you've not taken that action, you've not taken that step over and over consistently. People need to be able to identify this thing with you. So for instance, people reach out to me now to about accountability, goal setting and all that, and that is because I have been running this challenge consistently back to back every year without fail. Right, every year without fail I've been running this challenge. So it's easy for people to reach out to me and talk about their goals. That's because they've associated accountability goals with me. So if you want to be known for something, you have to become that person, and to become that person you have to do the things that would help you become that person consistently. So if they say, that girl, she has bad character, you would know that over and over again, over time, that particular lady, she must have displayed attributes of a bad character over and over again, not once, maybe not twice even. She must have displayed attributes of a bad character, and that is why people are able to label her as such. So to become a person of value, you need to add value and do that consistently. Remember when Jesus made man and he put man on the earth in the book of Genesis? I'm not sure when. Maybe I would remember and just plaster it on the screen. God told man that be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth and have dominion. I'm not sure I'm saying it right. Be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion. Yes, I think that's the right one. Be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion. Now, be fruitful is they are I don't know if you're getting me. So when it says be fruitful, is that you become fruitful. You become that person that produces fruit consistently. And just like I explained, how do you become fruitful? By producing fruit consistently. If they say this tree is not fruitful, it's because over time, just like the tree that Jesus cursed, it's because they came and they did not see the fig tree. They did not see any fruit. The next day they came, they did not see any fruit when it was actually the time for it to produce fruit. So if it is if you're going to be fruitful, you have to consistently produce fruit. And that consistently produce fruit, it means that you're going to take some action. So be fruitful means that become that person. You become that person by doing. Be fruitful. Multiply. So you multiply by doing. It's an action. You take action. You take steps. In fact, for you to even be fruitful, you're already taking some actions, right? You're already taking some actions to become fruitful. And you do that, by you multiply. It said, the Bible says be fruitful, multiply. That is, to multiply means to take some actions, right? You're definitely, for you to multiply something by something, it's an action you have to take, right? And God now said, have dominion. So have dominion is like what you're going to have, the goal, the wish, the dream, the desire that has been translated to a goal, the thing that you want to have. But for you to get there, you have to become that person that can have dominion. You have to do the actions, take the steps that are going to make you have dominion. So that is basically by showing up daily or whatever it is that you're going to do, multiply and all that stuff. And then you will now have dominion. It is not the reverse, it's not the other way. You have to become a person, you have to perform an action, and then you will now have your desires. So that is how to become a person that consistently achieves goals. You just need to picture that goal that you want to achieve in your head, in your mind. Picture it, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do this particular thing, or I want to have this particular thing, and then what are the things I need to do? And then you start to do them. And once you start doing them, you are becoming the person that does that action. And then it will be very, very easy to have that desire of yours. So basically, these are the steps to ensure, all these are very, very vital and important things to ensure that your goals are actually achieved, your goals are met, and that you are able to maximize the entire challenge. We already provided a program or a system and a structure that allows you to focus on your goals and achieve those goals with the structure and the accountability system that we provide. It is now left to you and up to you to ensure that you maximize that platform very, very well and achieve those goals. So I hope this helps. I hope you've gotten something out of this video. And if you have any question, maybe something that you just maybe need more clarity on, you can drop it in the comment section or reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to give the answers. Thank you so very much for registering once again for the challenge, and I will see you inside. Bye.